Hello and welcome to the Punish for Protecting live broadcast with your host, Francesca Amato, national expert in the Americans with Disabilities Act, domestic violence and child abuse advocate, best-selling author, and founder of Punish for Protecting Incorporated. We welcome all of our viewers listening on Facebook via Punish for Protecting News and the CPS News Network. If you're watching on YouTube at Punish No More and Free to Protect, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Now, without further ado, here is your host, Francesca Amato.
Hello and welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Wow, do I have a story for you today. And I'm really happy to be able to bring out this mother, this woman today. I'm really, really glad to see this, that someone in West Virginia is speaking out today. The title today is West Virginia, Almost Hell. And if anyone has been following me for a number of years, you would know that I did a series in West Virginia back in 2018-19 called West Virginia, Almost Hell, where I had, many different things going on in West Virginia. There is enormous amounts of families that are suffering in the state of West Virginia. And I got that title because the previous state's what do they call that? I guess like the name is West Virginia Almost Heaven, right? What this each state is known by. And I changed it to West Virginia Almost Hell, which I do want to also say West Virginia is a beautiful state. There are beautiful people in West Virginia. I have family in West Virginia. It is truly a beautiful state. And I just want to say I'm not putting down West Virginians or the beautiful state of West Virginia. I am simply exposing the evils that are going on in West Virginia. But without further ado, I want to bring out this woman. She is courageous. She's a mother. She's been through so much. I rushed this story. I literally just heard of it. And there was another, and she'll talk about this. There was another interview that was done that I got to watch, and the woman did a really good job. And I said, you know what? I need to take this story live in public for people to see what happened to this family and just how terrible and evil and awful it is. And I want to thank my viewers for your support right now. Your support means so much to me because, as you know, I am so passionate about helping these families and these children because this is the backbone of our nation and our children who have suffered so much. I have also been a victim of the system. Being an advocate, I was victimized. And I know this system in and out, up and down. And I want to help anybody that needs help. But one of the ways you can help me help these families is by sharing. I am in Facebook jail on all my pages. I'm in Facebook jail on all my pages. It is absolutely unbelievable. I think I have 17 days left. Okay. Anytime I go live, they put me in Facebook jail. And it's just unreal. So the way you guys can help me when this happens is you tag me publicly. If you're my friends, you tag me publicly, and that helps me to share and boost these stories because you see, the more we expose these evil people, this really does help. Okay. So anyway, without further ado, let me bring out my beautiful guest. I hope I'm going to not hurt her name. Selena Sansoni. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Just checking you. Okay, good. So it's really nice to have you here today with us, and welcome. You're being aired on CPS News Network, and then you're also being aired on my YouTube channel, which is, although I'm Punished for Protecting, it's Punish No More and Free to Protect, because that's the end goal. We don't want families to be punished. Your family has been through excruciating pain and suffering. Your children have. And Selena, could you tell us, before this even took place, what was like your living situation and what was going on?
We had a double wide, and it was in a trailer park. My grandma bought it for me. She was paying a loan for it. We homeschooled our kids. We were happy. We did everything together. We went August 6th, I believe, 2019. A cop came to our house and told us that they were seizing the home. That the landlord of the lot, I owed him some back lot rent. They seized my grandmother's home that she paid $83,000 for and still owed on the loan. They seized, they told us we had to leave. They're seizing it. They locked it. I stayed with my grandma for a few days, and then we had got a new house in Morgantown. The day that they seized my home, we didn't get any paperwork about their seizing the house. In fact, I have the documentations where the judge said they had to have writ of mandamus to seize the home, and they didn't. But we got a subpoena to go to court for a CPS case saying that we had not filled out the appropriate paperwork for our homeschool. And we moved to Morgantown. Every single day I called the sheriff's department to try to see how they seized our home like that. And I tried to speak with the sheriff. I left a message every day, left my phone number, my name, everything. And he never called me back. The sheriff didn't. But the cop who I would talk to every time I would call, started sending me text messages on my phone. And they quickly became very vulgar and sexual, inappropriate. In fact, my little girl, my 13-year-old, was playing a game on my phone and got the first messages he had sent that were like that.
And let me put him up on the screen so people can see who he is because, well, before I put him up on the screen, let's do that. But I just want to kind of say, obviously just by hearing this and by watching, and can you tell me the name of the woman that did your initial interview? I just want to give her a shout out.
Yeah, Candace Dyer.
Yes. Oh, she's wonderful. She did a very good job. So props to Candace Dyer. Okay. So, and thank you for that. We kind of rushed to get this as quick as we could, and I've been literally back to back, and I'm inundated, and I just got done with Megan Walsh's live protest in Florida, so you can imagine my day. I'm in New York, but anyway, but this is the name of him. So I feel like this is the main culprit right here, and I call him sex predator, Officer Rick Turner from the Preston County, West Virginia Police Department. So, guys, share this, guys. Let's get him popular. Let's get him famous. This is the guy right here. So, not only he was hitting on you. All right. Now, I will hopefully have this live coming out with other victims of this man. I'd like to see everybody in one interview. That's how we do it. That's how we expose people like this. This should not be wearing a badge. This should not be. But obviously, to me, he's the hub of the problem right there. He's the hub of it, guys. This is what we call a sorry excuse for a police officer. He's the reason. My pointer, it doesn't do that. He's the reason that we have concerns with police officers. We don't have concerns with authority. We wanted law and order. We want officers to follow their oath and to serve and protect the people. But instead, he's hitting on you. So you're going to him for help and he's hitting on you. Do you want to disclose any of some of the things he has said or put in text for you or anything?
He said numerous things. He said he wanted to bury his face in it. A lot of sexual things. How that he would like to get together with me, want to tell my hubby that he's been in my house, he knows where I live. Don't tell on him.
I mean, he's disgusting. He shouldn't be an officer. And God, and you know of other women that he's done this to. So since this happened to you, and since this whole situation, happened to you, you know of other women that he's done this to.
Mm-hmm.
They've come to you. Okay. So but have they exposed him publicly yet?
No.
See, that's what I do. I expose by face and by name. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. Okay. So we need this shared, guys. So what I need my followers to do, please, is to let everybody see who this piece of crap is. Okay. So from there, let's go to, the house, first of all. So they didn't have a legal warrant to come into your home. your grandmother had a loan. So obviously you have paperwork that we discussed before we pre-interviewed. There's a loan out with the grandmother's name on it. She owns the home. Okay. And you're living in it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens next?
We moved to a new house in Morgantown. We went to our first hearing, which was on August 16th, 2019. And my kids were deemed safe. They were left in my care. Then on the 18th, they did a home safety check in our new home. Everything was fine. They're there for over an hour. I record them every time I talk to them because they're dirty. They lie. Nobody had a negative word to say. It was fine. They saw my kids. They spoke to my kids. It was fine. Then that was the day he was sending me the messages on the 18th. The 19th, I filed a complaint against him. I took my phone. I took it to the state police in Morgantown first. They wouldn't do it. They told me I had to go to Preston County. So I took it to the state police in Preston County. They wouldn't do it. They made me take it to where he worked at the sheriff's department. So I took my phone there. I filed a complaint.
So hold on. So you obviously you took and you still have them, right? These the lineup of texts that he sent you and how you did not respond and so on. But you have that. So you're presenting this to them and they're all not wanting to see it. Basically, they're not going to touch it. Right. Is what they're telling me. Go ahead.
I filed a complaint. It's okay. On the 19th, the 20th, we were supposed to have another hearing. We didn't have a hearing. They continued it and did a status conference. But that day at the status conference, the guardian ad litem amended the thing, and it wasn't about our homeschool anymore. She said that we were squatters in our home, the home that they did the home safety check on. She said we were squatters, didn't have utilities. I begged the judge. I was blindsided. I didn't know she was going to say things like that. I still have my paid utility bills, statements from my landlord, everything. The judge didn't want to hear it. He took everything she said as gospel, and he ordered the removal of my kids that day. I begged for the CPS worker. I have the transcripts of this as well. I just received. I begged for the CPS worker who was also in our home to do the home safety check too, to be able to speak. He said she'll get her turn. She never said a word. He didn't let her talk. Her documentation of the home safety check is missing, gone. No one can tell me where the documentation is. And a couple days after that, she disappeared. I do not know where she went. Her name's Elizabeth Blake. But she disappeared after that. Her documentation is not in my file. Nobody wants to talk about it. The only one to speak was Christine Antolini, the guardian ad litem, and the judge ordered the removal of my kids.
That's this one. It keeps going by. That's this one here. So they allowed her to speak because she lied, but the other woman is missing, completely gone. And during court, because she was in support of you and your family, they would not allow her to speak.
Right.
I'm repeating back because, I do this. I court watch judges all over the country, but this is what they do. This is not shocking to me at all. It's disgusting, but it's not shocking because this is exactly the game they play. This is in their playbook. Okay, guys, just know this. This evil looking thing over here, this nasty looking, you can see it in her eyes. It's pretty obvious. Can anybody see that? You can look at the eyes. This thing, Christine Antonella?
Kristen Antolini.
Antolini. Okay. I don't know why I couldn't pronounce it. She committed perjury she committed perjury to remove your kids. So yes. This thing, they allowed her to speak because she lied. So go ahead.
Yeah, at a status conference, it wasn't even a hearing. I didn't have the opportunity to cross-examine her. Like I said, the judge would not allow me to go home and or call my landlord up there, anything. I begged and begged for this stuff. I recently found out that Rick Turner's wife actually works at the circuit court. So that was probably an issue too that I didn't realize.
Hold on. Now, whoa. We need to talk about that. Rick Turner, the sex predator, that's this guy, the sex predator, Rick Turner, okay? His wife, say it again, she works where?
At the circuit court.
She works at the circuit court.
I was at court at.
Okay. All right. And this is the judge, and his name is Judge Stephen Schaefer, right?
Yes.
What court is that? Just for the audience?
Preston County, West Virginia Circuit Court.
Preston County. And his wife works at the same court with this judge.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yes.
and he's not only a sexual predator to you with disgusting, vulgar, nasty things, but he is a married man. Hello, your wife. Mm-hmm. You're the wife to him. But these people, they're not really married anyway. That's another story. It's all, you don't even want to know. But let me not get into it. They're married, but they anything goes in their marriages. Let's put it that way. So they all cover up for each other. Okay, so go ahead.
After the hearing, the judge wouldn't let us leave the courtroom. He called the cops up to make sure we stayed in the courtroom, which happened there was like 6 cops on me and 2 on my husband. But after, finally I said I was sick and I needed to go to the bathroom. We left. They were going to get my kids from Morgantown. I didn't give them my children. And I went home with my kids. And a month and a half later, they came to my house and they said they had a warrant for 6 counts of child concealment because I have 6 kids. It was 1 count per kid. The cops, there was 2 from Preston County, 1 from Morgantown, the state troopers, and they knocked on the door. And when they came, I tried to hide in the attic with my kids. I didn't want to give them my kids. But the attic door, I couldn't get it pulled up. It kept making noise. So my 15-year-old jumped down and she closed us up in there and answered the door. And she asked them if they had a warrant. The cop said, yeah. She asked if she could see it. He said no. And when he said no, she tried to close the door. And he kicked it back on her, knocked her down, busted her knees were bleeding everywhere. He pulled his gun. He told her she watches too much TV, you crazy little bitch. He handcuffed her, threw her on the couch, and then got me and the kids out of the attic at gunpoint. Yeah.
It's, I mean, I've already, like I said, got to hear your interview, and I agreed again with the interviewer because, she's like, I would have done the same thing. And mothers and fathers do the same thing when you're protecting your children and they're being taken from you by this uncontrolled, overreaching government insanity. This has got to stop. You can't blame somebody for wanting to protect their children from this because they go into the hands of all kinds of danger, which we're going to talk about now. And I know this is really hard, and I know it's hard to tell this story. And I really appreciate you. Just know that what you're doing, I know it's traumatic to keep repeating it. And I'm with you on that. I just want you to know that, it's going to help though. So I know that we as parents, we do whatever we have to do to walk through that fire. But the damages alone of ripping these children and the trauma alone, let alone what happens in the whole, that's just bad to begin with. Okay. Medically speaking, psychologically speaking, and all that, physiologically speaking. But yes, it is, Tammy. It's an illegal search and seizure. It is absolutely right. But all of this is completely, obviously, we've seen the culprit. The culprit is a sex predator that starts out with the attorney. He's married to his wife. His wife works for the court clerk. It works for the circuit court, the same judge. I mean, this doesn't get any more obvious. I mean, this is obvious. This is complete and utter sociopathic retaliation. And this is what they do. Oh, you just messed with us. Let's go just take their children and let's go make up a big lie and let's pretend there's something wrong with this family. Okay. Go ahead and tell us what has happened from that point.
That was the last day I saw my kids. They took my kids 2 by 2 and split them up and put them in foster care. I was taken to jail. My husband and I were both arrested for the same exact thing, the 6 counts of child concealment. His bail was $30,000. They reduced it to $10,000. My bail was $120,000 for the same exact thing. No, I had no priors. Like, it was the same exact thing. I spent 10 days in jail, and my grandma put her house up, the one she lived in, to get me out of jail. They didn't, for a year went by and they never tried me. After a year, when they indicted me for 6 counts of child concealment and 1 count of conspiracy. all felonies. They said that I conspired with my husband to not give them my children. A year went by. I wasn't tried. They did a superseded indictment, and they recharged me with, indicted me all over again in newspaper, everything, for the 6 child concealment and then 6 additional conspiracy, one to cover each child. So I was looking at 12 felonies.
It's just unbelievable. We're going to have to take a break in another minute, but so at that point you have a clean record, never anything on your record, your family. You're just having your family, basically going to work and coming home and raising your kids pretty much. And all of a sudden you find yourself in this situation, and now you're looking at a felony per child. And then, so how many felonies again? It was 12 felonies, and then 13 with the conspiring, or 12 with the conspiring?
12 with it.
12 with the conspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is just Susan saying sheer corruption at its best. Never give up on fighting for rightful justice. They destroyed and divided our family. I was neglected in care. They can't, what is she saying? They can't promise the safety and well-being of any child in their own care. I've seen children left in hell and others taken to hell. It's unjustified and damaging to the whole family. Shame. Please share, and you will see how many more out there that's being covered up. Please, it could happen to everyone. And she's 100% correct. She's 100% correct. And we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk about what's continuing to happen right now. We're going to talk about some of the damages in the children and where their lives are now. So I'll be right back after this next message. I want to thank you guys for all your comments as well, guys. I really appreciate them, and I'm going to be posting more. Some of you have some really good, important things to say, and I'm going to be definitely posting more. So I do appreciate your comments and your shares and your love and support for these families, and your prayers above all for these families. It's desperately needed. Selena, again, thank you so much for telling your story. So coming at now, this happened in, what was the date of this actual removal?
It was ordered August 20th, 2019. It actually happened October 8th, 2019.
October 2019, and now we're looking at today, 2022. Have you seen your children at all?
21 months we hadn't had any type of contact at all. They wouldn't allow us visitation, phone calls, anything. Then we got our first visitation last summer. We had 3 visitations, and my son was telling about abuse he had suffered. And I asked the CPS worker if she heard that. And, she said she didn't know anything about it. He was talking about how he had gotten drunk, the dude had gotten drunk and was smacking him in the face. His nose was bleeding everywhere. His brothers were there and were saying that's they were talking about too. And I was angry, and I asked the CPS worker if she heard it, And I said, will you take my kids? I've never failed. I've never done anything. I've never been accused of harming my kids in any way. You're going to put them in. This is not the first time he had been abused. And I told her that. I asked her that. And then the next day I got a phone call saying that they were taking my visitation away because I talked about the case in front of my kids.
Okay, so let's go back to that. First of all, how old is that son? How old is he?
Then he was 12.
And this was, okay. So he was 12. This was like
11. I'm sorry, 11.
Oh, he was 11. This was your first visit with him, or like
the third?
This is the third visit. And who is the CPS worker? Is it that same one we posted or somebody else? No, that was the. I'm sorry, we didn't post her. So no, who was that?
They went through several CPS workers. The first one who disappeared, then Lawrence Wheeler who died, then Carrie Poirier.
One disappeared and one died, guys. Okay, go ahead.
Then Carrie Poirier, and then it went to, her name was Quintessa Friend, and she's no longer involved. She disappeared. She's gone to, no longer works for the state, but she was the one who was there.
Okay, and so now it was clear and evident what he was saying. That's her job to listen to that as a mediator. That is her job to listen for abuse. So let's talk about this, because I really, really have to emphasize this. That's her job, is to listen for abuse. It's called Child Protective Services, after all, even though we know it's Child Predator Services, Child Pedophilia Services, but they call it CPS, Child Protective Services. They're having supervised visits. All your kids are there at this point, or they allowed them all together?
No, we only had one visit with all of our kids, the first visit, and then the next two visits were with our 4 youngest, and that's
okay. So the boy that's telling you, the 11-year-old at this point, is telling you about his nose is bleeding, he's hit in the face, he's being abused. Okay, and 3 other children are there. What are their ages at that point? Do you remember?
10, 8, and then my 4-year-old.
Okay, so the 4-year-old's a little young, but still they're pretty smart these days. And then the 10 and the 8-year-old, they're all hearing this. So did they witness this too? Because I know that some were together and some were separated, right?
Yes, they witnessed this.
They witnessed this, and she didn't. She went blind and deaf. She knew nothing about what the kids just said. She didn't want to know. That's it. The next thing you know, I mean, are you guys hearing this? Next thing you know is that you're no longer got visits. That's it. Done. And that's it. You haven't seen your children since then.
No.
So 3 times since this took place, children are talking about abuse. And Dan, let me ask you one more question. Let me ask you another question. Okay, we have to mute back and forth. Let me ask you another question. Do you know where they are at all times? Do they at least give you updates?
No. Actually, my one son has been moved 7 times since this occurred. When for 21 months, I didn't know where my kids were. They didn't tell me at all where they were. I wasn't allowed to speak to them or anything. Now I do know where they are, but like I said, for a long time, I didn't know anything.
And so none of them try to even like reach out to you or anything like that. They don't let them. They just keep them blocked.
My oldest daughter is 18 now, so.
Well, hopefully she will at some point.
Yeah, we speak, but.
Oh, good.
She stayed in foster care with her sister because her sister's having a very hard time and she don't want to leave her.
Oh, a lot of kids do that. And so there's another thing that the audience, I'm going to read this statement in a second here. I'm going to put it back up. This happens often where children want to stay with their siblings when they age out, so they can protect them. It's quite sick and sad that this goes on. I also want to say, like, I've done many stories with foster kids. I don't call you foster kids, you're children of God, but I do many stories with them when they're grown up and they're out or they get out. And you're more than welcome to come on, and you should believe me, because exposing is a big thing. And they'll tell I have this one where, like, they're all crying, they're all sitting together, mom, children, so on, and they're like, they told us that she doesn't love us anymore and doesn't want us, and they're telling the children, or they're telling the parent, they don't want to see you anymore, they just don't want to see you. Okay, that's what they're telling the parents and the children. They know better. I mean, we have a bond, we know better that this devil is lying to us, right? But that's another tactic that they play. Let me go ahead and read this. Give it a second to appear on my screen so I can actually see it. Okay. Alice said, they nearly killed my granddaughter. She was literally half dead when they returned her and her sister after only 17 days in state care. 17 days. They were physically, mentally, emotionally, and verbally abused by Jeremy and Linnea in Bozeman, Montana, sorry. The older of the two was kept in the basement at night on a cot with a blanket and a pillow. All this was done by the worker to keep the girls as hostage, to make sure we cooperated in court and gave up our rights to our oldest brother. They were willing to kill, she said. I mean, this is unbelievable. And again, my followers, I need you guys to share this as much as possible. Share it with your friends list. Share it out there. Get the word out. Believe me, every person that sees this, it helps. And I'm going to tell you why it helps. Okay. You may not see the results right away. It's like me constantly pounding the Department of Justice and filing non-compliance complaints. And they tell it to everybody the same canned response letter. Okay. But what it's doing is it's building up. You'll see it in the statistical analysis that it's building up the trend, and it's showing, and we have enough people all over the entire country. Of course, this is happening all over the globe, that this does bring change. It does bring change. It's not instant as we want it, believe me, because if it was, these people would be in jail, every last one of them, on their way to hell, because that's what I want to see. But it does make change, and individually we see cases turned around. Okay, so when we've had more success than these lawyers, because the lawyers work for the system, I don't. Okay, so share with your friends list, tag people. It's so easy on social media. If you have 1,000 followers, friends, 600, 300, 5,000 maxed out, whatever, share with everybody you can. Let them see this. Let people that never heard of this before see this. It's really important. Okay. Cinderella said, so difficult to hear these stories, and what's even worse is that there is no shortage of them. Countless children and families are suffering. Let's see what this looks like. This Virgina Kennedy is asking you a question, I think. Here, let me just see. Sorry, I'm a bit behind in the stream, but I have a question. And you guys can feel free to ask questions. We have some time still. Do you have screenshots of these text messages from the police officers? Will you be showing them today? Oh, okay. She does have the text messages. I don't know if you have them where I can show them. That would be fine. If not, she does have them. I mean, she has them. She saved them. She has them as evidence. She brought them to the police department and so on. Do you have them where I can share them or no?
I don't. I can get them to you. I can email them to you.
Mm-hmm. Send them right over, and we will put them on the screen so you guys will see this. And I'm going to put him back up again, just for those of you that are just joining. Okay, so this is the sexual predator officer, Rick Turner. He's from the Preston County, West Virginia Sheriff's Department. He is a vile, disgusting, whatever. I call them inhumans. This is him right here. Okay. And pretty soon we're going to see on the screen the filthy, disgusting things that he said to her in text. When she reported it, all hell broke loose. She lost her home and her children. Okay. His wife, again, works for the circuit court. That is all a part of this. Okay. This is the judge. Oh, this is the guardian ad litem right here. That's the lying guardian ad litem. This is the assistant prosecuting attorney. I don't know if we showed her yet. Okay, she's another one, right? So she's supportive of the state of West Virginia then, right? She would be supportive of the state of West Virginia. Okay, Ann Armstrong. She's the assistant prosecuting attorney. How these people could live with themselves is absolutely, blows my way. That's why I can't even believe that they're human. I really have a hard time thinking that this is human, because I don't know how it could be. I don't know how it could be. And then this would be the judge. Okay, this is Judge Schaefer, Stephen Schaefer. Okay, and he works at the same court where that sex predator, his wife works. I mean, let's face it, guys. Let's see some comments from you guys. I mean, obviously this is clearly questionable, at the very least, we could say, right? These courts and lawyers are working under the British Crown. And then she said, wish I could review all the records of cause and evidence they claim to have against you and question your rep. I just helped a man falsely accused of harming his child and got her back in 2 months. I am not a lawyer. I'm a truth seeker, and I believe Every elderly and child needs to be protected. Yes, yeah, 100%. That's exactly what we do. And you're welcome to message me and we can try to work together. That would be fine. I don't understand why and how these people get away with this. Yeah, because it's an evil system. This is a demonic system. This is not, I mean, people have to understand that. People don't get it, that this is not godly, and there's no other way to put it. Like, that is what the situation is. This is an evil system. This is a child trafficking industry. So that's why we're out here every day exposing it for what it actually is. Anybody with half a brain knows that if you walk into a court, it's supposed to be fair and just. The judges are supposed to work for the people. They're not above us. We're not below them. They work for us. They answer to us. Okay. They're supposed to be there as a referee, not doing things like this, not causing irreparable damages and harms and ripping families apart. So, do you want to say anything else about your case?
I have numerous audio recordings. Like I said, I have the CPS supervisor telling me that CPS didn't find my kids to be in danger. They didn't petition for their removal. They just followed a court order. A few months, four of my kids were visiting one another, having contact with one another on the phone and stuff. But two of my kids were completely kept isolated from their other siblings. Finally, when those two got to talk to their oldest sister, they told her about abuse that they were suffering. She told her cousin told me, and I called CPS and told them what I had heard. It took them 3 weeks to move my kids out of that home. After my kids were in care for a year, completely alienated from me and my husband, I got a paper from the guardian ad litem saying that, asking the court to do in-camera interviews with my children, which I was happy about. They were finally going to be given a voice, because up to then they were kept completely silent. They never did the in-camera interviews, and they didn't do it with the 4 kids they were supposed to, or the 5 kids they were supposed to do it with. They brought 2 of my kids in there, and they had this secret meeting with them. I wasn't permitted to be there. My standby counsel wasn't permitted to be there. It was only those 2 children, the judge, the prosecutor, and the guardian ad litem. I have emails, and I have also transcripts where I've asked if the judge would provide me transcripts of at least what was said to my kids. And during that meeting they had, he denied that. In the email with the guardian ad litem, she says that there's no record of it. The judge just denied me the transcripts. But not even a month later, those 2 children were, my daughter was placed in a psychiatric hospital for trying to commit suicide, and my son was placed in a shelter. And not even a month after, and the only 2 kids who have ever been in a place like that are those 2 that after that happened. They tell my kids that we gave up. They tell my kids that we failed drug screens. Although I have all of our drug screens, we've never failed. They said my husband failed one. We had to pay and go get a hair follicle test to prove that he didn't. They just they're taking my kids' hope away. Recently, my son hung himself. He was cut down and resuscitated. But he's the one, actually, when they moved.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God. I didn't know that part of the story. Didn't know that.
He was in a shelter for 5-6 months, which is longer than what any kid is allowed to be in a shelter. Then I was taken to court for the child concealment stuff. I refused to take a plea bargain, and I didn't take it for a year and a half. And so I went to court. I represented myself. The judge quashed all my witnesses, quashed my exhibits. With child concealment, if you can prove that you reasonably believed you're protecting your children, it's not child concealment. I still have my parental rights. I still have them now. But he wouldn't let me call anybody, even the guardian ad litem, where the order came from what she said. I wasn't allowed to call her as a witness either. It took the jury 7 minutes to find me guilty. And that day I was sent to jail. I spent nearly 4 months in jail before I was sentenced. He sentenced me to 2 to 10 years, suspended for 4 years probation. but I had already spent 4 months in jail before he did that. But while I was in jail, they told my kids that I was going to be in prison for 66 years. And my son got angry, and at the shelter he was at, he broke a table after they told him this. So they took him out of there, and they took him to multiple different places, one in Huntington, one in Charleston. They wouldn't take him because they said that his issues aren't like a psychiatric problem, that it was more so like circumstantial. Then he sat in the emergency room for 3 days by himself until they finally took him to this place in Virginia, is where and who transported him was the Preston County Sheriff's Department. And he was handcuffed because they said he was a danger to himself or others. And so my 12-year-old was ushered to Charleston and Huntington and then Virginia, another state. And then after that, I don't know exactly what happened to what he did. I just assume he's tired of being alone and, kept away from us and his siblings and stuff. And my daughter tried to kill herself too, and it took the CPS worker a year to tell. I didn't even know for a year. They've given my kids medicines like psychiatric medicine, sleeping pills, narcotics, birth control, without my permission, without even telling me. It took a year for me to even find out.
And you've never had like your rights terminated. They've just stayed in foster care.
Right.
They never did like a permanency hearing, or have they done like many permanency hearings?
Never one hearing.
Never done that. They just basically hid this under the rug. They just kind of they're doing whatever they want. Guys, this has to get out. You guys have to understand. You guys know. I'm pushing close to 15 years of this, where I court watch judges all over this country. I know that this is the child trafficking industry. I do want to make a correction because I can't see it's going too fast, but somebody said something about this being an industry in the billions. Sweetheart, this is in the trillions, like the multi-trillions. This is the child trafficking industry. Okay, that's what this is. This is I don't know, like, it's the child trafficking industry. They're trafficking children. That's what they're doing. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. That's why they're doing it. That's why they don't care about your children. That's why they're not here. Obviously, if they were they protecting the children from the mother, and then they're destroying them along the way? Like, let's face it. Look at the one here. I just saw, where is it? Oh God, I got to try to find it. Anyway, it was Jody. She said how when the cops came to her house, they were going to shoot them if they didn't just turn over the child. That makes sense. We're going to protect the child from you because we're here, because we got to protect. We're Child Protective Services. The judge ordered us to come get your kid because we're going to protect your child from you. But if you don't give your child to you, we're going to shoot and kill you in front of the child, because that's safer than leaving that child with you. These are demons. These are insane things, because they're not people. They're not people. So I beg of you to share this in every platform you know, every person you know. If you have emails, send it out to the government fruitcakes that they are, and let them know that we know what's going on with this family. This is disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. There's a woman that keeps saying things here. Oh, Christy Klingerman. Is she a friend of yours?
Yes, Christy's my friend. She's amazing.
Oh, thank you, Christy. I see she's putting little notes and stuff. Also, where did you send they want to see the text messages from the perverted cop. Where did you send it? If you send it to my messenger is the best place.
Okay, I haven't sent it yet.
Can you do that real quickly right now? Pause with us for a moment. I'm going to read comments while she's doing that, okay?
Let me go get my phone.
That's fine. Okay, so while she's looking for that, I'm going to read some of your comments and see what we got here. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, here's a good one. Here's one. So basically, this is Jody, and I've been working on her case for 2 years. We have her story coming out tomorrow at 1 o'clock. You're definitely gonna want to hear that. She said that's what happens at Connor's Residential Treatment Center at Buffalo, New York. A kid named David, she was told, had gone out of the window naked and ran down the street. Okay, this is common in group homes. This is common in group homes. And it is. This is disgusting. This is sick, my friends. This is sick. Absolutely sick. It's sick. How can you not say that this is not evil? How can you not say that this is not evil? I mean, well, and I don't understand how anybody cannot think that this is like of an earthly, normal human nature that people would do this to children. This is a multi-trillion-dollar child trafficking industry. That's what it is. CBS News Network, if you look all over, he's showing you all the cultic activity that supports this as well. He's showing you all their chanting and their demonic rituals and what they're doing. Okay, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Angie Hayes, I guess you might also be a friend of, I think Selena as well. I'm assuming says they didn't even give you supervised visitation at CPS. Oh no, it's just Angie Hayes is asking. Okay, Angie, I'm bringing her back out so we can she's not, I'm not going to bring her back out yet. She's going to look. As soon as she comes back out, we'll definitely answer your question. They didn't give you supervised visitation to CPS. I just found this thread. Oh, no. Yes, she did. She talked about that. So when the live feed is over, please go back and watch it. You'll see what happened. Out of all these years, she's had 3 visits, and on the third, the abuse was acknowledged. The abuse was um was the children told about the abuse that was happening to them, and she was never allowed to have supervised. She was never allowed to have visits with her children again after that because the children disclosed the abuse that was happening to them, and at that point, she was no longer allowed to have. She hasn't had visits since. Okay, so Cindy, it's common in above Buckingham Palace too. Children climbing naked out of windows. Hello, okay, something we got to think about, right? Something we got to think about. Someone mentioned a naked kid climbing out of a window, scaling down bed sheets at Buckingham Palace too. He said the same thing. Judge Lavallo, who which will be exposing tomorrow some more, also denied all my witnesses and destroyed documents that I submitted to the court, saying she's under Cannon's law, and that I had an attorney. She couldn't review it even, so she can't see something before trial. But we'll talk about that. Catholic Church and British royal families are heavily involved in the child trafficking. So you're welcome, Angie. You're welcome. You're welcome. Judge Lavallo, which we're going to be talking about this tomorrow. So you guys want to tune in tomorrow at 1:00. I'm just waiting for my guest to get back into her seat so we can show the text messages of this disgusting police officer predator. She said Judge Lavallo also ignored all my innocent evidence. Everything they do is criminal, in my opinion. Christy said there is so much more that she is not allowed to speak about that will blow your mind. Wow. I'm just floored. I'm just floored. The fact that the one child almost committed suicide and the other child suicidal, which is very common in the foster care. You guys definitely want to watch. We have another program after tomorrow coming up. I want to say Friday, if I'm not mistaken, here on CPS News Network and Punished for Protecting News. You guys really are going to want to watch it. We're going to be showing you the work we put into this. Actually, Susan Cobb put into this is just off the charts. I'm going to be interviewing her, showing the amount of children that have died in foster care. Why this is no good, and who are they answering to? If they don't answer to us, there's nobody, my friends. There's nobody. They have to answer to us, and we have to force them to listen. You don't want this job. Trust me. You don't want this job. You don't want this job. Let me see if she's back here. Ugh, she's not back. Please hurry. We have very limited time left. We're going to show. So basically, this is the sex predator that started it all, Officer Rick Turner. Okay, she's about to show the she's going to be showing the text messages that he sent her, and everything literally went to hell after that in a handbasket. Okay, so as soon as she sends me those, which let me go check, I can share them to the screen. And I want you guys to spread this. Please spread this. Please spread this message, because spreads the word, okay? And it could help save the life of one of these children. It could help save the life of, just by you sharing it, just by you uh you know inviting a friend to see this video will help, okay? Christy's saying she has all kinds of recordings and all kinds of documents, but at some point I rushed to do this for her because I just watched it the other day. It looked like she had reached out to me sometime last year. I get so many notifications if you don't go through Book a Talk, which we'll show you at the end of this live, for my help. And this is important that the viewers understand this. If you don't go through Book a Talk, a lot of times I don't get the information. Okay, so if you're going to me through Facebook, there's a what do they call that? There's like an automated message that goes to you that tells you to go to Book a Talk. And if you don't, I don't get the messages, and then my assistant doesn't get to book you. And another thing is that people don't respond to the booking quick enough, and then someone else gets your spot. Like, it happens really quickly. Okay, and because there's very few people that can get into the courts like I do and speak on their behalf as a non-attorney and actually defend their actual rights. And so it's important that if you need my help, that please go to Book a Talk, and you'll see that at the end of this program today. Make sure you write it down, because that's the way to get help. Okay. Am I the only one who's seeing this broadcast in low resolution? It was hard for me to see the officer and comments on the screen. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at it on two screens and it's looking real clear. I'm watching it off of YouTube and CPS News Network myself on double screens, and it looks really good, actually. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's your phone. She said, tell your story to everyone worldwide because they can't silence the world. If they want to try to silence you in your story, then make sure everyone else will tell your story. And I'm going to need her to come back because oh, Mike, this is so true. See what Mike is saying here, everybody. He said, we're going to have the text messages up. So thank you for bearing with us. We do appreciate that. We do appreciate that. We're going to show the text messages that this sexual predator sent my guest today. When the courts are corrupt, it's the job of the FBI to investigate. Too bad the FBI is corrupt and involved in child trafficking. Mike, you ended my sentence, okay? It's so sad, isn't it? Boy, did we not know this. We grew up thinking these were the places to go, did we not? Quite sad. Quite sad. Okay? Oh, he said the photo is small. That was what I was given, and I do agree with you. I would have liked it bigger. He needs his face made bigger, doesn't he? We can share. I can send this out where people can start spreading this. So I'm in Facebook jail right now, but if anybody wants a photo of Rick Turner to share and to spread, we'll spread the love that way. How does everybody feel about that? You can just send me a message on Facebook Messenger, or and I make sure that you get I'll actually send them all to you so we can expose all of them. I just ask that you tag me, please, so I can help you guys spread the word until I get out of Facebook jail. Angie Hayes said, I'm a former volunteer. Oh, here's a good one. I'd like to get you interviewed one day, Angie. She said, I'm a former volunteer. Gal, 5 years. We did not work for DSS, but we had to work with them. Horrific system. This is coming from somebody that worked there, okay? I almost went to jail for contempt of court because I had a heated argument with DSS attorney. They still took the two boys, and I'm forever haunted by that. I'm so sorry to hear that, and God bless you for being a good, normal human being, Angie. And please reach out to me because I would love to interview you. Okay, so here we are. We're back with our guest, and this is Selena. And Selena, this is right here. You guys can see this is the predator right here. And where did you send it? To my messenger so I can share it real quick?
Selena? Actually, my husband's looking for the chip it's on because I have a different phone now, but I have copies on a chip that
all right.
I'll have to send to you.
So you don't have the phone either, like that you can hold up. Just
no. Actually,
He's looking for the chip. I wish we did this before the
I know.
interview. I just didn't think to do that, and we kind of did rush to put this out here. Well, why don't we give him a couple more minutes, because I know the audience is waiting to see it. But while we're waiting, why don't you go ahead, and if you want, if there's anything else that you want to say, there's certain things, I guess you're. So are you being gag ordered or something? There's certain things you're not allowed to talk about, some people are saying, or
Yeah.
well, how is that possible? Tell me about that. West Virginia is really big on unconstitutional, illegal gag orders. Unconstitutional, let me remind you, Judge Loser, unconstitutional, illegal gag orders. What's going on with that? Tell us about that.
There's things that's happened to my kids while they've been in care I'm not allowed to talk about.
Wow, so things that have happened to your children, you're not allowed to tell the public. So this is what you're allowed to tell the public. Sick. Absolutely. Well, you and I will be talking after the show for sure. Okay, about ways to fix all that, because yeah. It just infuriates me. It infuriates me. Don't talk about listen, does a bully take somebody's lunch at school and tell them, they threaten them that they'll hurt them if they tell somebody? Isn't this the same thing, only way worse? Way worse. I'm just blown.
They tell my daughter, if she tells me anything that like happens with my children, which they should be telling me, but they don't. But if she tells me things like what happened with my son or stuff like that, that she won't be able to see her siblings anymore. They have her scared to death that, now she's 18, she can get in trouble for contempt and be arrested and all kinds of stuff. She could be
in trouble for she can be like, just think how nuts and evil this judge is. This is the same judge, right? We're going back to the same judge that's telling her this?
Yes.
This judge right here is telling her daughter that listen carefully, everybody, if the daughter talks about the abuse that her and her siblings are enduring, that she will be held in contempt and go to jail for reporting abuse. This judge, okay, this judge. Who are the people in West Virginia that are allowing this under your watch? The Attorney General, the governor. Talk about those people.
Yeah.
I don't trust any of them.
I have reached out to everybody, the FBI, the Attorney General, I sent them copies of the messages. I have copies of audio recordings. I call the Attorney General. Yeah, it is though in West Virginia. But I called the Attorney General. The guy was kind of rude to me. He didn't really want to speak with me. I told him what happened. We got off the phone, but he called me back the next day, and he said that he knows that I'm not lying because that someone who works there used to work at the Preston County Sheriff's Department and knows that there was multiple complaints against this cop. When he was answering the phone and this happened, apparently he was technically retired, but still working there. And I have numerous recordings with the sheriff where I'm asking him, what was done about this. And he says he no longer works there. But while I was in jail,
who no longer works there? Not this predator. The predator still works there, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they told me that he didn't still work there. However, he works there under being retired, is what they say. But he answers their phones and stuff. And while I was in jail, numerous people from Preston County said, no, I just saw him the other day. He still works there.
Oh, they all do that. This is nothing new. They all do that.
Yeah.
They look in the eye. They look you in the eye with this innocent look, and while these covert narcissists do that, they all do it. I've seen them do it. Well, I'm retiring anyway. It doesn't matter. And then they're still there 10 years later. They're liars. They're liars. Christy said to ask her about the guy who ripped off her grandmother. Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you for reminding me of that one. Yes.
Yeah. When I went to court for the child concealment, I got my discovery less than 10 days before court. The judge made me do a competency test and all that stuff. And he said that he didn't think I would pass it. And I did that. Then they said that I was obviously competent, and we had the court hearing, but I didn't get my half of my discovery at all. And what I did get, I got 9 days before court. And they used my sister's ex-boyfriend to testify against me, to say I was on a piece of land in Preston County with my kids. And when apparently they said that CPS called the cops and said that I was on a piece of land and piece of property in Preston County with my kids. And within the hour, they searched that property. I obviously wasn't there. I was at my house. But to get venue, because I had my kids in Morgantown. We lived in Morgantown. You know, venue clearly should have been in Morgantown. However, to get venue, they brought my sister's ex-boyfriend to testify that I was on this piece of land. He was in jail at that time. He had stolen my grandma's checkbook and wrote thousands of dollars worth of checks, and then did the same thing with another old lady's checkbook. He had 24 felonies. And to testify against me, they gave him a deferred judgment, and I went to jail that day, and he was out that day or the next day.
It's diabolically sick. Let me tell you, like I said, I've done this for so many years, and the foster care system is horrible everywhere. And the child trafficking industry is infiltrated through the foster care system and the CPS, which they call Child Protective Services, which is not. It's child predator, child pedophilia services. The family court is a guise to all of this. This is not a real court system. And I shouldn't be looking at questions while I'm trying to talk, because I like lose my train of thought, and you guys are going so quickly through this. Oh, I need to remove that too. Sorry. And so, but the foster care, like when I see people, very few, I mean, I know, let me say this the right way. Let me say this the right way. People who foster children, there are some nice people, don't get me wrong, but the majority, I've met them where they'll tell you straight up, this is the most evil system I've ever seen in my life. The nice ones, they're very few and far between. There's something twisted and wrong that wants to keep people's biological children. Okay. And generally there's something very wrong with these people. Okay. I'm an Americans with Disability Act advocate. And I support families who have been traumatized by this system, and I protect their rights. However, there are evil, and there are people with the type of mental illness that is just wicked, and that's not what I support. I don't support that. I don't support this narcissistic, evil, sociopathic abuse, because that's what these are. These are abusers, and this is an abusive system. So I know you have to know differentiate between the two types of people, okay? The victims, and then these psycho perpetrators that run the system. And I'm saying that because, like, West Virginia foster care, okay, this is one state that I can say this for sure, okay, because I've met people in different states that have fostered kids, and they've given up on it, okay, or it broke their heart, because like that woman below who said, she was a gal, and then she was like, they treated her garbage because she was fighting for the truth and not of what they were telling her. But these people that foster kids, they've got the kids brainwashed when they live with them, and they appear to be happy, because they're taking them from their beautiful biological homes. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, there are some parents that are, that there's issues, but don't tell me that their entire biological family is all bad, because I'll never believe that in a million years. And what it's supposed to do is, children are supposed to go from a dangerous place, but that's not what they're doing. They're not taking them from dangerous places. They're leaving them there. So it's all backwards, into the hands of biological next of kin. Okay, that's what it's for. These are not orphans. The system was supposed to be for orphans, and an orphan is somebody that has no family. These kids have family. So this is nonsense. And I've seen that these people, I can tell by somebody had called. They usually, and I'm just going to tell you the same character. They have the same character. I've seen it over and over. They're usually women who can't have their own children, or they may have their own children, but they have a hatred for other women. I know this is going to sound weird. They will sleep with other people's husbands. They will break up homes. I know you might think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, I've seen it so many times. I can see how their character is and what they do and don't do. They have they're not kind to people. They're narcissistic, very, very deeply dark narcissistic. Um, they will, the men are generally having sex with the boys when they're adopting or fostering. It's very scary. It's very scary. So anyway, I can see them from a mile away. There's different characteristics. Christy's saying you got a jury. You got a. We're just gonna do a little longer on this than I was planning, because we are trying to get those text messages up, but we weren't prepared for that. But Christy said you got a jury trial on the 6 counts of child concealment and conspiracy charges. Did you want to respond to that?
Yeah.
And one quick thing before you do, because Andrea just said my niece has total Stockholm syndrome with a sicko who has her. You know what? Thank you, because that's where I was kind of going with that, and because that's what these kids do. They're Stockholmed, meaning that they have had to put their family out of their minds and pretend they don't want them anymore, and so they can live in these horrible homes. But go ahead. I'm sorry about that, but thank you for that, Andrea.
It's okay. Yeah. They did a jury pool, and where they picked names out of like they printed out a whole bunch of names, and then they picked them out like this box to choose my jury. And
they did a jury. This is what I was going to ask. They did a jury pool, so they had names in a box for you, but we don't know if they obviously picked their own people that they wanted in there. So no matter who you picked, you were going to end up with who was like, did you feel like these people were actual jurors that were of your peers, or did you feel like something wasn't right with these jurors? I mean, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even. Go ahead.
I did not. Actually, I felt like they tricked me kind of, because I got to strike 6 jurors, and 3 of the jurors had the last name Schaefer, and 3, which was the judge's last name, and 3 had the last name Turner. So I struck those jurors, and I think that's what they expected me to do, and I feel like I let them trick me. But
I'm muted. You felt like you were tricked. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was wondering about that. Because then they can say, oh yes, but even the jurors went against you, and it just something doesn't seem right. I think, my phone. Please, I apologize. My phone is going nuts with messages right now. Like, I apologize for being kicked off every 10 seconds. Yeah, I felt like just when you told me you had a jury, and that's one of my concerns with it. I believe in a jury trial of your peers, but when it's this corrupted, it's it's corrupted. I mean, the corrupted is corrupted, right? What do you guys think in the audience? What do you guys think? And if your husband was he able to get that, by the way? If he can just put it in chat in my Facebook or your Facebook to me.
I don't know. I'll have to go see. He's looking for it downstairs. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap up. But do you want to go find out real quickly, and we'll give it another 3 minutes. And if not, we'll have to do it when we do your story with the other women that he's abused.
Yeah, I can send them to you too. You can just attach them or whatever you want to do with them. I just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be in the context of the story. So if we can't get it on here today, listen, everybody. If we can't, we weren't prepared for the texts. However, she took the text to the police department. Okay. And you have to watch this whole live. Just so that you guys know, that, I'm going to be doing another story just on this predator cop of West Virginia with his victims. So victims, if you're out there of this predator cop, here's the predator cop. Let's put him back up one more time. Here's the predator cop. Okay. This is disgusting. And it's time he goes. Speak up, women. Come to me. Listen, I'd rather you show your face and be bold. Okay. Boldness is better. It's better. But, and children too, come on, because I will protect you. Come on in and we will tell your story. But women, if this predator cop or the judge that you saw or any of these lowlifes, but if this predator cop with his disgusting perversion, okay, and beyond what he's done with that, beyond obviously what he did to this family, because it's him and the judge, and it's her, it's him, and it's her, okay? This predator cop, if he sexually molested you, raped you, or just made advances to you, okay, this married predator cop whose wife works in the circuit court with him, this judge, okay, please come to me. At the end of this live now, there will be what's called book a talk, and that is to book a talk with me so that I can advocate for you. However, if you put in there, I want to be on the live show. I watched West Virginia Almost Hell, and I am one of the victims of this predator cop. Okay. Rick Turner from Preston County, West Virginia Sheriff's Department. Rick Turner, who they pretend is retired now. Okay. How can they make good judgments when they're doing things like this, when they're guilty themselves? Okay. You need people that are forthright, that are upstanding, that are law abiding, that are moral. That's what we need in our country. That's the problem we have in our nation. Okay. So just please get a hold of me through Book a Talk. Okay. And regarding, just so you guys know, thank you so much, Rosa. I really do appreciate that very, very much. Humbly, I received that, and I thank you for that. Brian, I'm so sorry to hear that. My heart breaks for you, honey. Really does. So guys, please just know that we will be live again. We will do another program, and we will show the text messages. We'll just be better prepared. Like I said, I really wanted her story out because I feel this is a way past due urgency to this particular story. And I really want to see her get justice, and her family and her children back. They're going to need time to heal. They're going to need the embracing of the West Virginia community and us worldwide and nationwide community to help support this family. Your prayers are really important, and don't think they don't work, because they do. So pray for this family. God can turn this around. I've seen it. I want to tell you that too. I want you to be encouraged. God turns these things around. He does. Okay. I've been there twice, just so you know. Like, I wrote this book about the judge, and he did it to me twice. He did it in October. He did it when I wrote this, and he did it again in October. And I had to go after him twice and get my child back twice. So I've been there too. I know what it feels like. Okay. This is way longer, and this is very excruciating what you're going through, and my heart breaks for you. And I really appreciate you coming out and telling your story, because hopefully your story will help other West Virginians that are afraid to speak out. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to say? I don't want you to forget anything. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I should have said this.
There's so much. But whenever I was arrested initially for the child concealment, and I went to jail for 10 days, thank God I had made copies of those text messages. But when I got out of jail, like, you know how they give you your clothes back and everything? I didn't have clothes. They lost my clothes, my wedding band, my phone, everything. So that's why I don't have that phone. They didn't give me anything back. They had to get me clothes out of the like lost and found. But I looked ridiculous. I'm trying to get the recording of that, because they record everything there. But yeah, I didn't have anything. They didn't give me anything back whenever I left there.
Well, sure, they had to take your phone. So in order to take your phone, because that would be too obvious, they said, well, let's pretend we lost everything she has. Because of course the phone had the incriminating evidence on Rick Turner, sex predator. Okay, so it's all there. But we definitely will get that. We'll definitely get that exposed. We have to get that exposed. So. And we'll just keep exposing him until they finally get rid of him and they turn this case around. We'll just keep exposing him. That's all. Him and all of them. It's disgusting. And I'm sure you're not the only case in this judge's court, which is actually the people's court, let me remind you. But, you know, I mean, I had someone who told me they had a case not that long ago, and it was nothing to do with family court. And the judge said, I'm here to serve you. Okay. That's what the judge said. And he was talking about God, and he was fair and wonderful. That you never see that. You never see that. He's a judge that knew what his position's supposed to be. This is all corruption and wickedness. But that's why they did that to you. So they sent you off, and you had to wear somebody else's clothes to leave, and they stole your phone. And they probably destroyed the evidence.
Probably. But I'd already made I have tons of recordings, and I have tons of chips with recording after recording, and that's not everything. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Sorry. Tampering with evidence, she said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she said the phone company would have transcripts. The internet is forever. That is true, Tammy.
Yeah.
Do you have that, or did you guys have it anyway?
The what?
You already have the text messages though. She has it already.
Yeah, I have them. I have copies. I took screenshots and I put them on a chip.
So you have that. You have your grandmother's loan that proves that it's her house. You know, I mean, the fact that there's no warrant, they'd have to make up a warrant, you know, and they don't have one, you know, there's no, I'm sure if you don't have a warrant, then you don't have a sworn affidavit signed with the ink, you know, ink, not some rubber stamp thing. So they don't have that.
And also,
then you keep your children all these years. Why all these years? You know, the crime doesn't fit even if you were wrong, the time doesn't fit the crime. And the punishment doesn't fit the so-called crime. We know it's not legit, but I'm just saying, you know.
My husband and I have done psychological evaluations. The psychologist says that they don't see anything hindering us from raising our kids. We did parenting classes. The parenting lady told the MDT she sees no deficits in our parenting. We do 2 random drug tests a week for a year and a half now. Never failed a drug screen other than the one they said he failed, and we had to get a hair follicle test. I filed a lawsuit against this judge last year and the guardian ad litem, and them. It was accepted by the first judge, and then it was dismissed because they said that they have immunity. But I've asked for his recusal 3 times to the Supreme Court. He tells the Supreme Court he can be fair, so they leave him on my case, and he's on both the criminal case and the CPS case.
He doesn't have immunity, and Rooker-Feldman doctrine cannot be cited as immunity for a judge, okay? When they violate the Constitution, that's why they're attacking the Constitution in schools. Your Constitution is your best friend, people, learn it. And when they violate the Americans with Disability Act, where I come in, where I would rip him apart, okay? But so there's other things we can do, though, which we won't be discussing here on a public live. But again, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I really have no words for it. And the fact that the way you're holding up. How is your husband doing through all of this? He was welcome. He was welcome to come on. He can come on if he wants to say anything. Or,
I don't think he wants to right now. His hair's not fixed and stuff.
Okay, but, that's fine. But maybe next time we'll have him to, you know. But so.
I know when I was in jail, he had a really rough time. He was all alone because we only had each other for the last while. So he tried everything to try to get me out of jail.
I'm just glad you're not in jail. And I tell you, it's tough. And you really haven't had the right support. So attorneys aren't taking the case. It's just awful. I may know somebody. I do know a few that I do work alongside of in West Virginia. We'll see if they're willing to. We'll see. I've got some plans up my sleeve for you. So exposing is one of them, but I have other things that I do as an advocate. So we'll talk about that as well. Are you guys working? Like, are you just like kind of maintaining? It must be so hard. I mean, I know the feeling. So I know what that's like, but.
I have my own little business. So yeah.
Good. All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to say before we close? Anything to your children in case they get to see this?
Yeah, that's okay. I love you all so much. I miss you. I'm sorry this has taken so long, and don't give up hope. I'll never stop fighting. They can throw me in jail. I don't care. Whatever they do, I want you to know that I did everything I could possibly do. And I love you very much.
Thank you so much. I wish I could be there to give you a hug. But no, you have a lot of support, okay? I know you really do have a lot of support. The people that watch on the CPS News Network, honestly, and on my YouTube channel, they really are very involved in these cases. There's a lot of people that watch and they just pray for families. I want you to be encouraged because I've seen horrible cases turn around, worse than this, the same as this. You know, by the time we get them, we say that we specialize in convoluted cases, and they're all convoluted because they're all crazy like this, you know. So, you know, have hope, okay? Have hope, and know that we are here, you know, we're here for you. So, we'll be talking more after the show. Guys, I really do appreciate you watching. Selena, I really do appreciate you telling your story, like I said. And I thank your friends here too who are supporting you as well, and all of the followers and listeners. Thank you for sharing this because, like I said, this will really help her greatly. We'll come back together if you can gather, you know, the other victims as well. We'll bring the attention to him some more. Um, and again, thank you guys for watching. And Selena, thank you so much for being on the program today.
Thank you for having me, and
God
thank
bless
you for sharing. Because West Virginia, they keep it so quiet because they make you scared and they bully you.
Yeah.
So,
well, just know that not only New York State, but the entire country supports you. So I don't like bullies very well. I don't do well with bullies. So that's what I do for a living. I fight bullies. So I know how they are with West Virginia. I've been there. I used to work very hard just to get them to speak out. Okay.
Mm.
So that you're a forerunner right now in that state. So this will turn around. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks again, honey. Thank you guys for watching.